I'd like to,
Okay, it's live now.
I'd like to call to order the regular meeting of the Board of Trustees for Tuesday, February 16th. Let the record reflect it. It is 6:38 p.m. Madam Clerk, you want to call the roll?
Yes, Mayor. Trustee Denton.
Present.
Trustee Steve.
Present.
Trustee House.
Present.
Trustee Brown. Not yet from Trustee Brown. Trustee Holmes.
Here.
And Trustee Henyard.
Present.
Okay, we have a quorum. First thing on the agenda is general announcements.
Announcement here.
Pledge allegiance in prayer.
That's right. There we go. All right, Trustee Henry. Good. You want to lead us in prayer, Trustee Henry?
Sure, but you want to do pledge
After
first?
the
You wanna
pledge
pray
first.
Right.
Okay.
You want to do pledge allegiance first? I pledge allegiance
Yes.
to the flag
To the flag of the United States of America and
to
to
the
the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, and thank you for allowing me to do prayer. Everybody bow their heads. I want to say we pray for Mayor Rogers to get a full and speedy recovery. As you all know, he had a stroke a week or so ago. And thank you, residents, for always standing up for what's right and continue to bless Dolton. Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
On general announcements, Mayor, we do have, a guest this evening, and I'll turn it over to Giovanni.
Yes, we have a guest with us from Southland Journal. Dr. Darden, are you on?
Yes, I'm on.
Okay, you can proceed with your presentation.
Thank you, Giovanni. I would like to thank Clerk Mary Kay, Mayor Roddy Rogers, Trustee Henyard, Trustee House, and all the other trustees for allowing me to give a general announcement. I am Dr. Cornell Darden Jr. from the Southland Journal. I am the publisher and CEO. And we would like to announce that we are giving Mayor Roddy Rogers the Mayor of the Year Award for the Southland. Mayor Roddy Rogers, you have been a very special mayor to us in the Southland. As the Southland Journal, we are a government watchdog. And as a government watchdog, we do a lot of work in exposing government corruption and making sure that information is available and transparent to the people. And we feel that your work as mayor of Dolton has been phenomenal when being transparent in government. Trustee Steve's, we have been made aware that Trustee Steve has had a lot to do with working with your administration before he became a trustee and making these meetings that you do for the public open and transparent. And we have been also made aware that many local governments around the Southland and in the South suburbs have taken lead from the village of Dolton and helping to make their government meetings transparent as well. We believe that government transparency is the utmost importance to voters and stakeholders in any municipal government region. And we feel that what Mayor Rogers has done to make these meetings transparent is of the utmost importance. So we are pleased to announce our endorsement of Mayor Rogers for the Mayor of the Year Award in the Southland. We do not just randomly give these types of endorsements out, but when you look at the Southland and you look at governments from Blue Island to Matson to Linwood to Chicago Heights, just to name a few local municipalities in the Southland, Dolton right now really stands out amongst the pack when it comes to putting government business out in front of the public. If you want to see a city council meeting for the village of Dolton, you only need to look at the Dolton's Facebook page or the Dolton's YouTube page, and everything is right there for you. that is very unique and rare in the South End. You don't see that everywhere else. And right now, during the pandemic, of course, you're starting to see it a lot more, but you really didn't see it before the pandemic. And the village of Dolton has been doing that for quite some time. So now, Mayor Rogers, we would like to give you this award. Unfortunately, the pandemic has made it so we couldn't give you this award in person, but we did give you that award personally. So I hope that you do have that award in your hand and that it has been received. But we will like to make this formally our announcement from the Southland Journal that we have given Mayor Riley Rogers of Dolton the Mayor of the Year Award because of his great work with transparency in government. And we do like to make a special mention to current trustee Steves for his work as well at helping to push that agenda. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Durden. I really appreciate the award. It's not often that presentations are presented like this, but your efforts and the Southland Journal's efforts to go forward to make this happen, I really appreciate it.
Absolutely, sir.
Continue your work in the South Suburbs.
Absolutely, sir.
And Mayor Rogers, you said you had some announcements?
Yeah, there's a couple announcements I want to announce tonight. Even though I've been out of the office, I have continued to work to go forward, moved on forward, and do some things here for the village. I want to say, I want to announce that I have had contact with Walgreens government liaison, and as of last Friday, Dolton has been on the first list of Wall Street pharmacies to give out the vaccines. There was 100 doses of vaccine shipped to our Walgreens in Dolton at Sibley and Woodline last Thursday, and between Friday and Sunday they were all given out. Today we're supposed to receive another several hundred doses, but due to the weather, FedEx and UPS shipments were slow today, so they were not able to make the delivery to our Walgreens. But they are going to continue to come. It's on a first come, first serve basis, and all you have to do is call the store and make an appointment to get the vaccination. Of course, if they're in the stock. The other thing I'd like to announce is that I've had contact with our governmental liaison from ComEd, and after speaking to many residents on the west side of Dalton, where there's limited lighting, in some places there's only a light on one corner, on each corner, or one light in the middle of the block. This spring, ComEd is going to install 40 to 50 additional light poles on the west side of the village. And also, they're going to replace all the city light bulb on the city-owned light poles in the village of Dalton at no cost to the village. It's going to be high wattage, where some of those darkened areas will be brightened up by additional wattage with the light bulbs that they're going to replace on our poles also. That project will start in this spring, as soon as the weather kind of warms up. In some of these areas, the residents are going to have to sign an agreement with ComEd so they can use their airspace. They make over their backyard, bringing power from the alleys to the front to those streets. Now we tried this 3 years ago in some darkened areas on the east side of Dolton, and believe it or not, some of the residents were not signing an agreement for the right for the airspace. So the ComEd was not able to install those new lighting poles. Hopefully everybody will be in agreement here so we can get those poles installed so we can brighten up the west side of the village. I have no further announcements, Mary Kay.
Thank you, Mary. You indicated earlier that you were going to leave the meeting early.
Yes.
So at this time,
Also, I got updated today on my condition by the doctors here at rehab center. They said I'm doing very well, and they can have me on the accelerated rehab program. I should be released in the next couple of weeks, which I will continue my outpatient therapy. So I'm receiving 5 hours of therapy a day right now at an accelerated rate. So I'll be back soon.
thank you, Mayor.
You're welcome.
At this point, Mayor Rogers expressed his intention to leave the meeting. So I will ask, before we continue with general announcements, if there is a motion for a mayor pro tem to chair the rest of the meeting.
A motion.
Trustee Holmes, motion to appoint.
Mary Kay, did Trustee Brown ever come on?
Thank you, Mayor. I should ask. Trustee Brown, are you there?
Mary Kay, I'm sorry, Clerk Dugan.
Yeah, either one's fine.
Trustee Brown reached out and she will not be in attendance this evening. Many of you know that her fiance passed away recently. Please keep him in your prayers and keep her and her family and Mr. Higgins' family in your prayers. She's going through it, but she will not be in attendance this evening.
Thank you. So Trustee Holmes, you had a motion to appoint a mayor pro tem. I did not hear the name of the person.
House.
Trustee House. Thank you. Is there a second?
Second.
Okay.
Okay, it's been motion.
Motion and seconded. Well, Mayor, if you want to do this last one, have at it.
The motion is seconded to appoint Trustee House as Mayor Pro Tem tonight for the rest of the remainder of the meeting. You want to take the roll on that, Mary Kay?
Assuming there's no discussion, which I will assume, unless interrupted, Trustee Denton.
Aye.
Trustee Steve,
Aye.
Trustee House.
Aye.
Thank you, Trustee House. Trustee Brown is absent. Trustee Holmes
Aye.
and Trustee Henry.
Aye.
Okay. Trustee Steve is appointed Mayor Pro Tem. I'm sorry, oops. Trustee House, forgive me.
That's okay. Trustee Steve, you can do the honors if you would like to. I ask you to hang with me one moment. My agenda, I had to pull the agenda back up. It froze on me. Okay, so we completed general announcements. We have next is the village administrator's report.
I just have an announcement. I think.
I'm sorry, Administrator Scott. I made the assumption we concluded. Did we conclude general announcements or were there any other general announcements?
I believe we had some
Okay, yeah.
others.
My apology, Administrator Scott.
No
Any announcements?
I have several.
Okay, Trustee Henry, please.
Okay, thank you. Good evening, residents. I just want everybody to be wary of COVID. It still exists. Please continue to go out, wear your face mask. Please practice social distancing and please wash your hands. If anyone is looking for the vaccination shot, please contact 833-308-1988. Again, that number is 833-308-1988. And that's Monday through Friday from 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. And you have to register. So by registering, you can either go on the website and do vaccinate.cookcountyil.gov. But you have to make an appointment in order to do so. And one of the sites is South Suburban College. If anyone is interested, when you call the number, they'll give you several different locations to choose from. And of course, there are requirements. So please call the number. I'm gonna give it one more time, 833-308-1988. And lastly, I just want to remind everybody that early voting has started. You guys, the location is Calumet City Library. The address is 660 Manistee in Calumet City. And the hours are 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. Monday through Saturday. And on Sundays, 10 a.m. to 4 p.m. You guys can go there and vote anytime, or you can do a mail-in ballot. And you can go to cookcountyclerk.com to get a mail-in ballot sent directly to your home. It's very important that you guys come out and vote. Election day is February 23rd, and that's here in Dolton at any other polling places, and that is from 6 a.m. to 7 p.m. It is time for you guys to come out and voice your change in your vote. Thank you. End of my report.
Thank you for that. Any
Trustee,
additional-
I have an announcement real quick.
Trustee Holmes, please go ahead.
Yes. Good evening, everyone. Just a reminder, we know we got heavy snow. I'm asking all throughout Dolton, do not park in the snow route zones because they are towing. So if your car is in the snow route zone, kind of see if you can find a parking space so your car won't be towed. I have received numerous calls of cars being towed. Also, Saturday, February the 20th, anyone is still in need of food, we will have a food giveaway with gallons of milk. This will be at 11 p.m. to 3 p.m. And also, please get tested. If you want to get retested, we'll be doing testing up there. You can get your results in 24 hours. So if you feel free to come up between 11 and 3, and also get tested. Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Any additional general announcements from the
I
rest of?
had an announcement, but I got myself. I had an announcement, but I have to wait for my wife.
Okay, Trustee Steve, we'll go to the administrator's report, and then when the boss calms down, we'll come back to your report. All right, Administrator Scott, please, with your report.
Good evening, residents, board, mayor. Good to see you back, village clerk. I just wanted to, we have a few things we're going to discuss later on the agenda as far as the forensic audit and internal controls proposal that we got back. But I wanted to mention that many of you know we had the water fund, the water relief fund last year, and we're doing it again. It will begin on March 1st, but we are taking applications. We will start fulfilling the applications on March 1st. So you can come into Village Hall and fill out your form, or if it's more convenient for you, you can also call myself, give me your information. I need your account number, your name, address. The only two requirements you must be 2 billing cycles behind, which is 6 months. And you have to be a resident of Dolton. So this is something that we want to do for people in the community that are struggling to pay their water bill still from the pandemic. Like I said, it's going to begin March 1st. It's $100 per qualifying resident. So if you're current on your bill, unfortunately, you do not qualify. We're trying to reach out to those in the community that really are struggling with their utilities. So $10,000. I'd like to give a big thank you to Pastor Chris Dodd from New Community Church on Lincoln. He's been really helpful and instrumental in stepping forward during the pandemic and trying to put our heads together and figure out what we could do for the community. So once again, it's $100. We're going to start fulfilling those requests on March 1st. You can come into Village Hall and fill out a form, or you can call me or email, and I can send you the form electronically. Thank you.
Thank you very much for that. One question, Giovanni, if you're available, would you be able to test again the comment section? There are some residents that are sending text messages indicating that they don't have access. If you could test that for us, please, so that way we'll know everybody has a chance to make their comment.
Or I can provide confirmation it's working because we have let me see, 1, 2, 3, maybe like 5 or so comments now. So they're people that have already been making comments.
Thank you very much for that confirmation. Okay, Trustee Steve, I wanted to check back with you. Are you
No, sir, no.
not at the moment? Okay. So we'll move next thing up on there is old business, which was our police radios. I believe there was a proposal that was jointly recommended from the administrator, police chief, and Chris. So would somebody like to speak to the proposal?
Good evening, Board, Mayor Pro Tem, Village Clerk. Yes, it was a joint effort between Administrative Scott, myself, and Chris. We did do a little legwork. As you all know, the last meeting, I gave the opportunity for Administrative Scott to do a little bit more research as she got some information that we may be able to get a better deal. And in doing so, we did get a better deal. We will be moving forward with the most newest radio, which is the 8000s, roughly for around the same cost, just a little additional cost. But the numbers that I gave last meeting, what we would have to spend out as a village, they're lower. Chris will chime in and give you all numbers, but we are getting the newest radios. As we did some research, the 6000s had dead zone spots throughout the village, which is a safety concern and officer safety issue. So we felt that those were not the best ones for us, and we were able to get the 58,000s, which will last us longer. And at the end of the lease, we will own, and we are getting some additional equipment that wasn't included in the last bid. So I would like to say thank you to Administrative Scott for looking into that, and that's what we want to move forward with. If you can chime in a little bit, Administrative Scott.
Sure. So I wanted to start off by saying I sent this email to the board, the mayor, on Friday, February 5th, in regards to the radio quotes from Motorola. So when we sent out a quote from Motorola, I got the Apex 6000 series, which was the same ones that we were going to get from Dispatch. It actually came out to almost $25,000 less. But Mobley and some of the other officers, Chief Mobley, found out that there were dead zones. So the 6000s wouldn't work. We'd end up having to do some putting up towers and additional work and not even guaranteeing that they would be able to work. So the Apex 8000 series, the quote that we got from Motorola, actually came out to just about the same amount as the 6000s. The difference is that, fortunately, Chief Mobley was able to work out something with Ron Robertson, and they're going to be putting up the $254,000 for that they were going to give us towards the 6,000 radios. So the annual lease payment for these radios, it would be a 5-year lease at 3.19% interest rate. That's the same interest rate that we were getting previously from the other quote. And the annual payments would be $32,500. And what the ETSB board proposed was that they were going to pay us monthly, because obviously they can't afford to put up the whole $254,000 up front. They were going to pay it monthly. We're going to put it in a segregated account. And then at the end of the year, we're going to pay the amount in full, which is $32,000. So they're going to give us monthly payments. We actually come out with a better radio. We will own the radios. That's the other difference, is that we are going to own the radios at the end of this. We won't have to return them. And I also suggested that we work out an interagency agreement. I spoke with Attorney Murphy, and if the board does desire to go forward with this at the next board meeting, prior to that, we can present the board with the interagency agreement, basically saying that they're responsible for the $254,000 and the payments, yearly payments that come up and equal to the amount of the yearly lease agreement. And I did send all of this, including the radio quotes from Motorola, the one that the ETSB had originally provided us, along with the 6000 series, the same radio quote from Motorola, as well as the newest one, the 8000s. The other thing is we will be reimbursing the CARES Act money. The original down payment that we would have to come up with, we were proposing that we use the CARES money, which we will get reimbursed for the money that we put down. So out of pocket, we would only be coming up with $52,600. So I put all this in the email that I had sent to the board. Also, Chief Mobley spoke with Sergeant Klinger from the Cook County Sheriff's Department, and they assured us that the radios would be kept on until we execute the contract and everything is finalized. So I don't know if there's any other questions, or Chris, if you wanted to add anything on to that.
Nope, that's everything.
Any questions
Chief,
from the board?
Chief Mobley,
Yes.
does this include charges for all the radios?
Yes, Mayor, that's one of the extra things that was not included. On the first quote from ETSB, it just came with the bank chargers, and I had ordered charges for the supervisors, detectives, the specialized unit. In this quote, each radio will have its own separate charger as well as the bank chargers that will be kept at the PD. Yes, sir.
Okay. Now, at the end of the lease, we will own the radios. Now, will the radios be able to be modified to continue for continued usage after the lease is up?
Yes, they did tell me that the radios, these radios, because we're getting the newest ones, that they will be able to last longer than the older radios. So they assured us, they said, you're getting the newest radios that are out.
Okay. Any other questions from the board? Okay, hearing none, I'll ask if we have a consensus that we move to place this on the agenda for March, is it March 2nd or March 3rd? Clerk Dugan, I don't have the exact date.
I believe it's March, and I'm not going to say because I don't know either.
Okay, well, I'll ask for a consensus that we move it to our voting meeting coming up. If that's okay, I'm a yes to move it to the board meeting. Any other trustees to chime in, please?
Thank you, Trustee House.
That date is March 1st.
Or March 1st. Okay. Hearing no comment, I'll say 1-0. We will move that forward to the March 1st meeting. Next on our agenda, we have the fire department protective gear. Is that Deputy Chief Rush? Would you be speaking to that?
That's correct, Mayor Pro Tem.
Thank you, sir.
Good evening. All right. Good evening, Mayor Rogers, Mayor Pro Tem, and Madam Clerk, and all residents. It's my duty to speak this evening about the firefighter protective gear, sometimes known as bunker gear or turnout gear. But just like anything else, over a period of time, it begins to degrade and gets old and needs replacement. And it's a lot of components in there, what makes it time to replace it, such as the overall condition of the gear, the deterioration of the materials and things like that, the ability to remove contaminants and hazardous materials from that, the age and proximity, when firefighters go into toxic zones, I would call it, and then excessive soil buildup that cannot be normally cleaned. So with that being said, thanks in part to the CARES Act, that the village has is going to replace 20 sets of gears for the firefighters. And Administrator Scott, if you can elaborate on the cost of that, I would certainly appreciate it, ma'am.
Okay, sure, Deputy Chief. So the total cost is $49,980. That includes the 20 of the turnout jacket and 20 of the pants. And that would be for 2 sets. Is that correct, Deputy Chief?
That's correct.
That's for 1 set or 2 sets?
That's 1 set per.
Okay,
per individual.
so
That's
that
1
would
set.
be for 1 set for each, and typically they would need 2, correct? But they're still in compliance. Right. We still have so many years of compliance.
Right,
so,
we're still in compliance right now.
Yes, we're still in compliance right now, but I want to think ahead because in the next 3 years, we won't be in compliance. So I want to get a jump start on it. And I did have a meeting with the fire department. I think that was at the end of November, and they did mention and showed me some of their gear that is starting to wear out, obviously, from going on calls. So we really need to make sure that they're protected. The mayor did mention offsetting this cost with the amount of their uniform allowance. Deputy Chief, I'm not sure. The mayor mentioned that they get, I believe, $600
per year. Yes, $600 per year. That's
Deputy,
payable in 2 installments. Yes, sir.
Deputy Chief, those
Yes.
air bottles that we need to replace, you got any plans for that?
We have a grant that's already written for air bottles, but also right now we're in compliance due to a healthy gift that we received from South Holland Fire Department.
Okay.
We received about 40 bottles right now. They are still live and still good to go.
Very good.
So we're
We're
good
good
right
on
now
that,
on the
ma'am.
air bottle.
Yes, we're good on right now.
Okay. One
So-
question on that. So are we looking for, is this more of a FYI for the board on something that's coming up? Or are we looking for a consensus vote? What is the?
We're looking to just bring this up now, going proper protocol for the CAL meeting. I'm asking the board to place this for the March 1st board meeting, so that we can get them their protective gear, and we can look in, and I can come back to the board, talk some more with Deputy Chief and the Chief in regards to using the $600 towards that, because that was a really good idea from the mayor, because that does come out to $12,000. So that would mean, that would bring the cost down from 50,000 to about $38,000. So we can look into that and come back, and I can give the board a definite answer on the amount, but we're looking to get this passed by the board for March 1st, because we will be requesting the CARES money to pay for this.
Deputy Chief,
I really appreciate the effort. Yes, sir.
is this equipment for individual usage?
This is individual uses. All the individual will be properly sized and measured for the gear.
Okay, so normally would it be paid out of a uniform allowance, or some of that uniform allowance applied towards that?
As the administrator just mentioned, that's what we're going to look at right now for the
Okay.
March to offset that amount.
Yes.
Okay. Questions from any other board members? Hearing none, I'll just ask if we have a consensus on moving this forward. I am in favor. I hear no agreement or disagreement. Are we?
I agree with moving forward.
Valentine's Day mode? Okay. You say you agree, Trustee Steve?
Yeah, I agree.
Thank you, Trustee Henyard.
I agree.
Okay. Yeah, I hear you. Thanks, Trustee.
Okay.
All right. Trustee Holmes, were you? I didn't.
I agree. Mhm.
Okay, so it looks like we have a consensus moving that forward. Hearing no other comments. Next thing up, the roof repair and public works salt building. Trustee Steve, was that yourself or Superintendent Stacy?
Superintendent Stacy, but I do want to make, I know I didn't get a chance to make my announcements early, but it's pertaining to public works and the snow that we have going on right now in the village. Is it okay if I go ahead and
Yes, sir.
As we all know, we got hit with a whole lot of snow. And I found out today that 2 public works trucks went down. So if it took them a longer time to get to your street than usual, that's the reason. So my committee meeting is, I've been planning a committee meeting, but that's been happening, things been happening. So when I have a committee meeting, we'll discuss the public works need as far as the trucks that's needed, because 2 of them went down. So it slowed a lot of the plowing in the street. So if your street didn't get done as fast as you thought it should get done, I know my street on 143rd, I was wondering why. When I talked to Superintendent Stacy, he told me why. So we're going to discuss the trucks that went down, which needs to fix them, or do we need to look at purchasing some other ones? So that's an update as far as from Public Works, what's going on in the village. That's my major announcement. Also, you know, the Public Works guys been working hard, because this is not the first snowfall that we had. We got hit with a lot of snow these last few weeks. So you got to really commend them guys. They work late nights. They come in the evening time. They work overtime. So if you know, a lot of times you may not, you hope you never have to call a police officer or a firefighter, but everybody interacts with a public works person more than they ever interact with a firefighter or a police officer. So we really want to appreciate them guys. They a little short staffed right now, but they're hardworking guys. I go over there and talk to them. So residents and elected officials, if you see them, if you see the public works workers out there, just give them tell them we appreciate the work that you do. You're out there working hard in the cold. They had a water main break on, I think, a Sunday or Saturday. What day was that, man? One of the days they had a water main break right when in the midst of it snowing. So they wanted
on that Saturday, yeah.
Saturday, they wanted to plow some streets, but then they had a water main break. And then when I went over there, they really couldn't find a water main break. So it's a lot. So I just want to say, I appreciate the guys, the hard work. A lot of times they don't get appreciated and never get shout out. They never really get I think the thank you from us elected officials of the town. We can, I know that, a lot of the residents will complain because they want stuff done, which is right and exact. You know what I mean? So us as elected officials, if you see them guys, they work hard, just telling you appreciate the work that you, the time they do, and give them motivation to keep them going, because they come in after hours and they do a lot of work in the cold outside. So that's all I want to say about Public Works.
Thank you for that comment.
And then Matt Stacy can go in about the roof repair and the Public Works Soap building.
Okay. Superintendent, please.
Okay, good evening, Mayor Pro Tem Board. I have here for our salt building, right when we had the high winds at the end of last year, the roof on the building had collapsed down. So causing some issues with our salt storage and all that. And now with the cold weather here, it's freezing our salt, causing issues, putting it on trucks, going through the spreader. So we got to pick out all the big frozen chunks, put it to the side. So I put out to 4 or 5 different companies. I got a response back from 2. I just got the other one Friday from Legacy Builders. The proposal you guys have from bulk storage, I talked with Janice on this too, with the issue with the high winds and that caused the roof to collapse down. We called the insurance company out. They came out, did an appraisal, all their work on their end. So at the end of the day with the insurance company, they were giving the village around $89,000, $90,000 for a deductible on the insurance. So they are in the process right now of sending the village the check from the insurance company. The proposal I have is $123,000 from the bulk storage company. The one I got Friday from Legacy Builders, they're wanting the cost for the roof is $175,000, and for them to come out and do the job plus the roof would be around $300,000 is what they told me. So I was recommending to go with bulk storage. They did a lot of the surrounding towns. I talked to some of the directors and all that. They've used them in the past, and the cost was $123,883. So with the insurance money, and then I spoke with Chris and Janice, we can pull from the MFT fund. There's enough in there to cover the funds for the leftover would be $33,949. So there are funds to carry over from the MFT fund to cover the rest of that. But we need to get this taken care of because the salt freezing is causing a big pile of frozen salt in the back. Now, I spoke to one of the salt truck drivers that delivers the salt, and they will come and pick up the frozen chunks of salt, take it back to their plant, regrind it up and bring it back to us. They're going to give me a price on what that would be tonnage wise. So that's where we're at with the roof on the building.
Okay. Any questions from any board members? Matt, how, I mean, I heard you mention the salt freezing and things like that. I know this is pressing. How pressing is this? And I'm saying that, is this something that needs to be done before the next board meeting, or is this something that should go on the next meeting agenda?
I would say for the next board meeting, if you go ahead and give the approval now, I can call the company with Janice and Chris tomorrow and speak to them and see, because they want to start ordering the material. They don't have all of the material in stock for the roof. So they'd like to start ordering it as soon as they find out if this is a pass with the board.
Okay.
I want to mention, Chris, if you're on, and Matt, I do not want to completely exhaust the MFT fund, because I want to use some of that money to pave some of the street and do some of the streets that have the potholes next year. This coming year, I'm sorry, this year.
Okay.
Yep, we should be okay with that.
Okay. Any other comments, board members?
Yeah. Okay, Matt, just go over the numbers again for me. You said it was 300,000 and
For the, the legacy builders, I got his quote Friday in an email.
Okay.
The building, the structure itself is 175,000. And then for them to come out and to purchase the building and to come out and do the job would be around 300,000.
Okay. So the 123, what was that
One, that's from bulk storage. The total cost of them purchasing the materials and installing it is 123,883.
Matt, is this just for the dome, or is this for the bottom support structure?
No, when they came out and looked at it, Mayor, they said the concrete walls are fine. This is just for the rooftop.
So is there any type of guarantee on that?
Yeah, there'll be a warranty with it. Yes.
Okay.
Okay, and what's the turnaround time for doing it, Matt?
Like I said, when I spoke to the bulk storage company, they said the sooner the better. The sooner the better for them, because they're kind of slowed down right now. Plus, another thing is we have the dome part of it emptied out with salt. If we would have left it the way we had it, they would have charged us a little more, because they would have had to go out and run a lift truck and all that because of the salt in the building. But we cleared all that out with these last few snowfalls. So they won't have to go out and get a special lift truck for the reach and all that, because all the salt's gone.
Okay. So when if hired, how long would it take to complete the job?
I'm not sure offhand.
Okay, just let me know that. Is it a week, 2 weeks? So
Okay.
I can make sure that y'all is situated over there. Thank you.
Hey, Matt, when are we gonna need more salt?
I just ordered some more in. We got it in 2 other bins. I just ordered 1,000 tons, so we're good for right now.
Okay. Any additional comments, board members? Okay, I think Matt was asking if we can have a consensus vote to move forward with it.
I'm fine with it.
Thank you. Trustee Denny, you say you're okay as well?
Yes.
And,
I say move forward.
okay.
Yes, let's move forward.
Trustee Steve, and I am in agreement as well. So consensus, I think we have to place it still on the March 1st meeting, but Matt, where everybody's in agreement.
Okay, thank you, Mayor and Board.
Okay, hearing that, next up on our agenda will be the forensic audit and internal control proposals. Administrator Scott, can you give us just the overview of the proposals that came in, please?
Sure. So last one was that on February 9th, they sent out an email to the trustees. The prior Friday, the Friday before that, that was February 5th. At about 12 o'clock p.m., Mary Kay and myself, we had the bid opening process, which took place in Village Hall. And we had requested, we put the RFP out to several companies. We got a response from Sickich, who gave us an hourly rate that was ranging from $125 to, I think it was almost $360 per hour, which was pretty spread out. And when I followed up with them requesting an estimate of hours needed, Chris and I reached out to them, and Chris went back and forth with them in emails. They responded with an estimate of approximately $30,000. And from Chris's accounting experience, and Chris, you can also chime in, but he said that that's not a realistic number. Because you have to keep in mind that this is going back 3 years. So when I spoke with Trustee House about how many years back they requested the forensic audit, he said from 2017 to 2020 at that time. So over the course of 3 years, that's not a realistic number. And given the volume of paperwork that they needed to review over the course of those years, going over all the departments, including the water department, and the second accounting firm, which was BKD LLC, they gave us an estimate of approximately $120,000. And they also had an administrative fee included in that. And they were cautious in warning me that that was just an estimate and it can go up several thousand, anywhere up to $150,000, $200,000, depending on the amount of time and actually how much work they would have to do as far as the going over our paperwork and all of our accounting books. So I would just like to know from the board what direction you would like to take this in, as far as if you would like this placed on the meeting, the March 1st meeting, for a vote to proceed with the audit. Also, I wanted to add that Baker Tilly did reach out to me. They reached out late. Their offices were closed, so they were working from home, but they had some issue with, I guess, their email, because I was corresponding with the general manager. And I ended up speaking with a gentleman from Baker Tilly who asked for an extension, because we do technically only have one real viable quote, because we requested an all-in fee quote. We didn't get that from Sickich, obviously. So if the board would like, I told Baker Tilly to go ahead and submit the forensic audit. They asked for a 2-week extension to go over everything that we were requesting, because it was a lot that we were requesting. We were requesting that they review every aspect of the village and also put in an internal control component. So they requested a 2-week extension. We will be getting that back prior to March 1st. So I don't know if you want to wait to see what kind of numbers we get back from Baker Tilly, or how the board would like to proceed. So.
Well, everybody knows this is dear to me as it relates to doing a forensic audit here in the village of Dolton. I'm real key on that water department. So I do think we should wait for the third proposal, and then we can open it or discuss it at the board meeting on March 1st, is my take.
Any other comments from other board members?
Yeah, I say we wait.
Okay, one area for me that I'm in agreement that the $29,000 total likely is not a realistic number. I think our annual audit that we do every year ranges from $40,000 to $60,000, if in my memory. So for somebody to do a forensic audit over 3 years and for $30,000 does not sound realistic to me as well. Whatever total or whatever figures we do get, I would suggest that we make sure that we have it included in the budget. We did not have a forensic audit in this year's fiscal budget, but we do have a budget period coming up for May 1st. So I would say that we tie that in, so that way we've accounted for the money being spent as well. So I think I'm in agreement with everybody that we wait for another proposal to come in, and as the proposals come in, if we want to work it in, let's make sure that we have it included in our annual budget for FY22.
I agree.
Okay. Hearing any
That's
additional
good.
comments?
That's good, Jason. I'm in agreement with it.
Okay, thank you very much. Hearing no other questions or comments, I think the next thing on our agenda was personal retirements and insurance status. Is this one that was for open discussion, or is this a personnel matter for executive session?
I will assume.
I think it's open discussion.
Wait a minute, for the record, can we talk about employees stuff in the open meeting? I thought we had to go on a closed session for that. I don't want to be any part of it if y'all gonna do it.
Yeah, I think my thinking was, unless there's something that's like unanimously agreed, I would probably say executive session as well, just because there could be the possibility of a disagreement in discussing an employee's information.
Absolutely.
I do see Attorney Murphy on the meeting. Or I did see, I should say.
Oh, I see him popping in right in time. Yeah, he got his cape on too, I'm sure.
Good evening.
Attorney Murphy.
I got 2 other meetings tonight. Sorry about that.
All right, you popped in right on time. I think you have a cape on your back. We're talking about the personnel agenda item number 5, personnel retirement and insurance status. We thought this item might be something that we would go into executive session if it's something that would require a board vote in particular. Did you have any thoughts on that?
It will require a board vote. This is something that we discussed kind of globally shortly after the beginning of COVID. The board may recall that once COVID hit, we were scrambling for any kind of savings. One of the things we proposed to consider with a lot of our senior workforce was, excuse me, retirement agreements, where in exchange for somebody retiring before they might otherwise choose to retire, we would enter into an agreement with them where we would keep them on the health insurance, paying, with the village paying the 80%, the employee paying 20% per the labor contracts. And if during that 2 or 3 year period, the employee got another job that paid benefits, then our obligation would cease. The economies were pretty obvious that we're essentially trading a senior salary, a top of the salary schedule salary, for either a beginning salary or no salary, in exchange for a relatively small amount of health insurance benefit for those 2 years. As a matter of fact, I had prepared a retirement resignation agreement template to utilize. As I recall, I think 2 firemen took advantage of it, and the board voted those. And we have a senior police officer that's before the board now on this. So I think as a general matter, it's a win-win proposition because of the savings in exchange. The net savings to the village are significant, but it is a matter that would require a board vote. But it's simply filling in the blanks with the particular employee.
Okay, if we could, I would like, or I get some sense that we would like to go in executive session just to make sure that everybody has an opportunity to speak on because I think we're talking about a specific employee. Am I right?
Yes.
Okay, so I'm thinking if some other board member has any feelings similar or in disagreement with me, please chime in. But I think we'd rather do it in executive session.
I agree. I think it's personal.
I agree. We talk about all employees in closed session. We never do it in the public eye.
Denton or Steve, any comment?
Executive session.
Yeah, I'm in agreement with the rest of the board.
Okay. All right. So with that, we'll do executive session. I think we would, with that being the last agenda item, before going through the executive session, we would like to get the citizens' address comments read into the record and responded. There was one item that we discussed at the last board meeting, but there wasn't a follow-up, or I'll say maybe I neglected to send it for the email, so I just want to make it in terms of a general comment, which were the manual check warrant list that will be coming up on our May 1st agenda as well. I believe everybody had an opportunity. Well, we discussed that everybody would have an opportunity to email Chris if they had any specific questions to that warrant list. Chris, at this time, had you gotten any questions from any board members about that list?
Nope, I haven't received any additional questions beyond the questions that were raised at the board meeting.
Okay, now, so my comments on there, I think there were some comments about who authorized or who didn't. So from what I've seen, there's no employee that has done anything outside of their authority. From my opinion or my perspective, 99% of the checks on that warrant list were routine bills that get paid, insurance, regular contractors, and consultants. The concern about the manual checklist, or at least from my perspective, is that those manual checks get issued and paid before the board has an opportunity to review them, which makes it difficult for the board to keep a gauge on the budget. So I want to make a clear statement on that there was not an accusation from my behalf that any employee was doing anything improper. My concern was making sure that we do have the manual checks listed on the warrant list every month, so that way the board is aware of everything that we're voting on and we have better control over the budget, and that checks are not paid without board approval. So having said that, I don't know if any board members or any administrative staff as well have any comments on that, but I did want to make sure we follow up. That warrant list will be up for a vote because those are items that have not officially been approved, so it will be on our next board meeting. But if there's any questions that any board or statements any board member want to have right now, or we still do have from now until March 1st, if there's something on there that you have a question to connect with Chris.
I do. I have a statement. I stated at the last board meeting as it related to people giving manual checks without board approval. I disagree with that. And I also disagreed with paying one particular vendor, Pekarsky and Son, and you guys still cut them a manual check when the entire body agreed to not pay them, and you guys still paid them anyway. So I still would like to know who cut the check or who approved the check. So whether that was Mayor Rogers or the administrator or Janet's, either or, I still want to know who approved it or who told you to approve or cut that check, because it seems as though no one wants to own up to who did it. It's just complete silence normally. And I don't even know who cuts checks. Is it Chris? And then who gives the approval to cut the manual check? Can someone answer that? Or Attorney Murphy, if you're still on here, can someone answer who does that? What's the process of getting a manual check?
Thank you for the question, Trustee Henyer. That was the one vendor I asked about as well. Chris, would you like to elaborate on that, please?
So in regards to Pekarsky, the way it was explained to me is that Janice was instructed to issue the check on the day after the board meetings from the mayor. So she issued a check that day. That's the way she explained it to me for that particular vendor. The only two people who within the system have access to issue manual checks are my login and Janice's login. Janice has the check stamp and the check stock. So the only time I ever issued a manual check would be when Janice was on maternity leave, because she wasn't physically there to issue it. Otherwise, Janice is the only other person who has the ability within the system to print manual checks.
Okay. So I'm clear. You're basically stating that the mayor approved a manual check after the board approved not to pay the individual. So basically, he's doing what he wants to do.
Trustee, I can only tell you what was told to me. I was not in the room when that happened. So what Janice told me was that the mayor instructed her to issue that check. I don't see her on, so I can only tell you what she told me.
Okay. And then while we're here, if I may, Mayor Pro Tem, I had a question as related to Baker Tilly. I don't know if Chris or Elizabeth can answer. Isn't that the same company that is doing the civic systems for the village? Isn't that the same software company?
Yes, it is a subsidiary company, but I was assured that it was no conflict of interest. It's just an umbrella company. It's a company under an umbrella. So there's many times a lot of major companies that own companies under it, but that would in no way influence, or they can't erase this, it's forensic audit. So they can't erase anything, and nothing's going to get erased. We can't even start the new software for several months. It's going to take a long time for that to even begin. We were hoping to start it perhaps like the end of the summer, but I don't think it is even going to happen at that time. It may not happen until early fall or the end of summer, like maybe August, September at this point, because it is a lot of information. But regardless who we choose, I know Baker Tilly is a very reputable company, and they were recommended by several organizations, along with some others that were a little bit pricier. But if there's no problem, we don't have to use them if you don't want to, but I think it would be good just to get another opinion on the price.
Okay. Now, for the record, I'm not against adding a third vendor that wants to join in on the bid process. My issue is this. I see it as a conflict of interest due to the fact they already are doing the software as it relates to the water department. So why would I, as a trustee, vote for them to do the forensic audit in a department that they're checking out for us to start with? So I will have to rescind my agreement to say that I would like them in the bid process, because right now we already hiring them for the software for the water department. So I don't want them to do the forensic audit as well. So
So it's not, I just want to be clear. Maybe I confused people when I brought up the fact that it's a sister company, but it is Civic Systems that's actually going to be doing the software. But it's a large, Baker Tilly is a large company. They own a lot of different businesses, not only in accounting, but it is actually Civic Systems that is going to be doing the software. It's Civic System Software. The company is just owned by Baker Tilly, but it's not the same organization, meaning that it's a totally different system. It's not in the same offices. It's totally different, but it's up to you. I can definitely go out and try to get another proposal from another company and try to make it 2 more if you'd like. But I know they're probably going to need an extension because it takes a lot of time to come back with such an extensive RFP that we put out. There was nothing that was omitted on the request, so it may take them, we may have to extend it until the next Cal meeting to get the additional RFPs, but however the board wants to move, it's totally up to you.
all right, thank you.
No problem.
Comments? Any other questions, comments from the board before we go to citizens address?
Hello, this is the mayor. I'm
yeah.
back on.
Mayor Rogers, yes, sir, please.
I want to comment on manual checks that was issued. If you recall last board meeting, the amount of the bill for Pekarsky included several invoices. And the board said I did not have the authority to approve that amount. But you yourself, Trustee House, said that I had the authority to approve a lower amount. So the amount of the checks that was issued should have been the amount that I was authorized to approve. They were not the total number of invoices that amounted to the large amount last board meeting.
Okay, thank you for that comment.
Yes, I have a comment. Regardless of whatever the amount is, Mayor, you have a board that you have to go before you pay bills. You cannot, and I repeat, cannot pay a bill because you choose to. The entire body have agreed to not pay that one particular vendor, but you took it upon yourself.
It was more than one bill, Trustee Henry. It was more than one bill.
Yes,
it was several amounts, several invoices.
Okay. But we all agree not to pay that one particular vendor. You fought tooth and nail to pay that one particular vendor for whatever reason. So what I'm saying, or what I'm asking as a trustee, is that you report to your board and let us approve or disapprove.
Trustee, one of the invoices was one that you wanted those trees cut down.
Mayor, I'm not going to fight today. I'm just telling you the opinion that I have and how it should be. That's the structure. That's the order that you ignore every time. So what I'm asking you, if you want something paid, put it before your board, which is the Board of Trustees.
We put it in front of the board.
For a total of $60,000.
That was multiple invoices. That was not one invoice.
And we said no to the $60,000.
The whole $60,000 was not paid.
Okay, I'm gonna just say this and I'm leaving it alone. Later on, you got an email from Attorney Murphy saying that it was no approval to pay Pekarsky and Son, but yet you still went through and paid them. All I'm asking is to stop doing that. Go before the body and get your approval. That's it. That's it. Thank you, Mayor Pro Tem. I'm done.
Trustee Henry, one of the invoices was a tree that you wanted cut down, and they did the job, and we need to pay them.
Thank you for those comments. That will, of course, be coming up on our next future warrant list for additional discussion. Any other comments from the board?
No, I just wanted Mayor Pro Temp before we go into citizens address.
Yes, sir.
All right. I'm getting some texts about Saturday, the food giveaway, plus the free COVID-19 testing. I'm getting some texts asking whether it's going to be inside or outside. It's going to be outside, 14200 Martin Luther King in the parking lot, Saturday from 11 a.m. to 3 p.m. And also, real quick, 14200 Dobson, there's a big water main break there as of just now. So residents, if you're in that area, your water pressure may be low as public works are working. Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Okay, hearing no other comment from the board, I can ask Giovanni, would you do the honors, please, reading in the citizens address?
All righty, I sure will. We have questions and comments. I will go ahead and start from the beginning. There was one question that asked if the award giver has been watching the village meetings, which was referring to the Southland Journal. So I responded and provided them the contact information for the Southland Journal. The next one says, scroll down. Another question, I'll just read out loud. It asks, why was the comment section late? And they're referencing the YouTube chat box. And I responded to that, letting residents know that there is a delay between the live meeting and what they view on YouTube. So there's always a delay between the two. And that's not anything that is manufactured. That's just the nature of the technology and just how it works. The next question says, who runs the village media? This would include Channel 4, YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. A name and or a company, please. And I can answer that question. So I am the Director of Communications and External Affairs. So I manage communications in all facets, which would include Channel 4, YouTube, Facebook, print media, and social media. My name is Giovanni Nixon. You can find me on the Village of Dolton website. The next question, a comment just says, we're wishing the mayor a speedy and robust recovery. As a precursor, I've spent days observing numerous years of various recordings of Dolton government officials and interactions with each other. The next question is the board aware of what the Open Meetings Act entails?
Yes, I would say our board members are aware of the Open Meetings Act.
Okay. Another resident says that the area wasn't clean. The snow is still there. I've asked them to respond with their address and location. I'm just waiting to receive that information.
I want to make a comment. Also. I want to thank everybody for all the texts, the good well wishes, the cards, the flowers. So many of them. I appreciate your thoughtfulness and your prayers for my recovery.
Okay. The next question said, is referencing the award that Mayor Rogers received in the beginning of the meeting. It says this award was a ploy to hide questions from the village. Since comments weren't allowed, is the mayor playing games with the village?
Okay, I'm not sure if Mayor Rogers has a comment to respond, or if not, we can.
What kind of games are they talking about?
Yes.
I'm not sure. I did respond to it and let them know, because initially you mentioned that you may have to leave the meeting. And I did mention that if they had a question for you and you weren't on the meeting at that time, that I will forward it to you via email. And if they provided their contact information, we would make sure they got their question answered. So that was the response that I sent. And I was moving. The next question says, the question is for me. It says, Nixon, who has access to block, ban, or prohibit comments on village social media and email? So my answer to that is, I am the Director of Communications and External Affairs. I manage all of our communications at a multi-tiered level. In reference to blocking, banning, or prohibiting, every software platform does offer those options. I'm assuming the question is alluding to someone being blocked or prohibited, but I can say since I started my role on February 24th, 2020, I have never blocked, prohibited, or banned anyone. If you have an issue, if you're not able to submit something, you can call me or email me. All of my contact information is listed on the Village of Dolton website. Next question says, will this radio band be available to the village so we can check on what's happening in Dolton?
I would imagine that would be highly unlikely because it may contain sensitive materials, but Chief Mobley, if you have a response. Chief Mobley, are you with us? Okay. Yeah,
Yes, I'm here.
okay. Did you hear that question?
Yes, it was in regards, will the public have access to the radio band?
Yes.
No, absolutely. That's a secured radio band for police only.
Okay. Thank you very much.
Okay, the next comment wishes Mayor Rogers a speedy recovery. And it says, I know the streets need to be clean, but when will the alleys be taken care of?
Okay. Superintendent Stacy, are you available for that question?
Oh, yes, sir. We're moving into the alleys. We've been doing some as the complaints have been called in, but we're trying to get the main roads open first. We're doing alleys, as we can get to them. So all they have to do is just call into the office, 708-201-3280, and we'll get them as soon as we can.
Thank you. The next comment or question states that the street lights are still not working on 148 and 14900 Lincoln Avenue. What was ComEd's response?
I called them into ComEd. I can't get them out there. They do it as they get them. I don't know how their protocol is, but I'm sure they prioritize their working at. So I'll check on it again tomorrow.
Thank
Thank
you.
The next question says, at the previous February board meeting, no one would answer the question, who is authorizing manual checks? Is this answer available now?
Yes, I think that we did discuss that towards the tail end of the meeting. I believe, I don't know if there's any further question about what was discussed, I would ask that they do a follow-up question, but I think maybe we covered this after the question was asked.
All right. The next question is, why is Trustee House pro tem when mayor is in the meeting?
I'm just dropping the schedules for tomorrow.
I know the mayor made the decision that he may not be available for the entire meeting. So I think the pro tem would have been appropriate, but Mayor Rogers, I don't know if you have a comment. Mayor Rogers.
Hello?
Hi, Mayor Rogers, did you hear the question? I know that it asked about why was a pro tem necessary and you're available for the meeting. I think that you were not certain if you would be available for the entire meeting, but I didn't know if you.
Well, first of all, I did not have an agenda. Secondly, I didn't get a chance to go over it. And thirdly, I thought it was not to my best interest to run the meeting tonight.
Thank you very much. I believe that answered the question.
All right. Next question, it says, who authorized manual checks? Chris was supposed to get back to the board. We want answers.
Okay. And Giovanni, I'm asking, I don't know if you see the timing of this. Was this question asked before or after our discussion on manual checks?
It doesn't show the timing, but sometimes with a citizen address, people might submit a question, and even though it has been answered, they then, if I don't read it because I know it has been answered, they then say, oh, she's not reading the questions. So I am aware that these answers have been provided, but I'm just reading them so people are aware that their questions are being read.
So my belief is that question has been answered, but I would ask if the resident, if the explanation that was given is not sufficient, please do a follow-up question.
Okay, thank you. The next question said, will these YouTube meetings continue for people who aren't, Will the YouTube meetings continue for people who are unable to make board meetings with more communication to the Village of Dolton YouTube meeting?
The YouTube meetings have been available for years, even when we had in person, and I anticipate those the live streaming will still be available post COVID. But at this time, we're still in a COVID environment, and we will be doing the YouTube Zooms until it's I would say safe for us to conduct in person meetings. And at that time, I would anticipate we'll still have YouTube as well.
Okay. The next one says, it's for Trustee Steve. Do you have admin access to any social media, YouTube, and email aside from your own email?
Well, the main thing I have access to is that I still help out greatly on his channel 4 because the technical side of it, because the boxes went down, sometimes the channel's down, so I check it at home. And if it's out, sometime at night, I will go in and make sure it's up. That's the main thing I have access to is the channel 4 and the box and all that.
Thank you. The next question said, I would like to know when District 3 bills will be released. The last period covered went through October 31st.
Is there anybody that could speak to Water Department? I don't see. Okay, well, I would say that if we can have that question emailed in to Administrator Scott, would you be okay if that question gets emailed and you could maybe do some follow-up to find an answer for that?
Yes, no problem.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
All right, the next question says, if only 60 people from the village are on this meeting, the communication must not be getting out to everyone. Is there a better way to communicate these meetings? I can answer that question. With regard to the meetings are communicated via email. We have a little bit over 3,000 people on our email list. They're communicated via all 3 social media platforms, which we have thousands of followers there. And they're also communicated through our broadcast channel, and we have over 11,000 residents there. So in terms of, is there a better way to communicate? We do use a multi-tiered way of communicating. If there's something that you want to suggest or you think can improve things, I'm more than open to that. But that's how we operate in terms of communications.
Can I add something to that answer?
Yeah, sure. Go ahead.
We've been live streaming our board meetings for the past, I think, like Trustee House said, I think I got it going in when I first became media director in 2015 or 16. So for the past 4 to 5 years, we've been live streaming our meetings. A lot of people just don't know about it, but on the average, even when we were live streaming, this is high right now, I think, because elections coming up, 66 people is high compared to our normal numbers. But the biggest number for these board meetings are the day after watch. The watches that come tomorrow are the people that pull it back up the next day. So the biggest views come afterwards. And that's how it always is with live streaming, live events. The biggest views come afterwards. So people who are, if you want to pass that on to your to people who live in the village, people that you know, pass it on to your federal residents to say, you can watch it on YouTube. Because a lot of people to this day, I still talk to them. I say, the meeting's on YouTube, and they say, oh, I didn't know that. And a lot of them don't even know we got a YouTube page, Facebook page, an email blast, or anything. So it's just you got to continue to push that out to the residents and make sure to educate and let them know that this is on YouTube, so people can watch it.
Thank you. The next question says, if Public Works is not clearing the alleys, how can they get into their garages?
Superintendent Stacy, are you still on? I would say, I know that if in the event that the alley is unsafe, then access to the garage would not be available. But I think that is hard as quickly as possible to get the alleys cleared out.
Yeah, just if they can, again, if they call in and let us know the alley or whatnot, we'll get there as soon as possible.
All right. The next question says, if the next bill that comes out will bill for 5 months of usage, which is close to double billing. I'm not sure if that's a question or a comment. Is anyone able to decipher that and possibly answer it?
Say if the next bill, can you repeat it?
Yes, so I'll read it. It says the next bill that comes out will bill for 5 months of usage, which is close to double billing, question mark.
I'm guessing they may be referencing the water billing if there's not been a bill sent out to, I don't think they said area 3 on the previous question. Is it the same resident that asked about the water billing?
Give me 1 second, I could scroll up and see. Yes, it was the same question that said, I would like to know when District 3 bills will be released. The last period covered went through October 31st. Yes.
Okay. Yeah, so that's, I think that's one that we need to quickly look into in terms of the billing, if the billing is out, or if it's been delayed, and get that resolved quickly, because the comment would be going to that the next bill will be due as soon as the first bill comes out.
Okay. All right. Thank you. And give me 1 second. I think someone may have got blocked out of the meeting. Okay, we're good. All right. So the next comment or question says, does the media person understand that blocking residents because they don't like what is being said is a violation of the Open Meetings Act? I can respond. I'm the Director of Communications and External Affairs. I've stated before, I started this role on February 24th of 2020. I have never blocked any comment or any resident. If there's an issue of some sort with submitting something, you can call, you can email, we can work to resolve it. If there's a concern or issue that you have that somehow didn't go through, you can send it, and I will definitely work to get those concerns resolved. But I've never blocked any resident. So in answer to the question, I'm aware of the Open Meetings Act, and I've never blocked any resident from communicating in any way, shape, or form. The next question says, it's a comment. It says the forensic audit doesn't go back far enough.
Okay.
Next question, it says Baker Tilly to be involved is a conflict of interest because they are part of civic systems. Does the board see this as a conflict of interest?
Giovanni, I would like to add to that. So we don't have to use Baker Tilly. We can use any other of the accounting firms. That's not an issue. I think it's the same person that keeps bringing this up, that brought up before that Baker Tilly was a conflict of interest and sent an email to the board and myself. We don't have to use Baker Tilly. We can use some other accounting firms. That's not an issue. And that would be, I would receive that direction from the board. Some of the trustees said that they wanted to look into an additional accounting firm, and that's exactly what we're going to do. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, the next question says, will the forensic audit delay the new systems to be implemented?
No, forensic audit will not delay it.
No, it will not.
Okay. The next question, it says, will all the comments be read? The answer is yes. The next question is, who authorized the manual checks?
The list of manual checks there were numerous manual checks that could have been authorized. Most were utility bills. The one that was debated was discussed earlier, which was the check to Pekarsky and Sons, and that check was authorized by our mayor.
All right, thank you. The next question says, what is the protocol for mayor should the current mayor of Dolton be determined unable to continue on in his duties?
At this time, I don't know that there's been any determination that our mayor is unable to move forward with his duties. So in the event that that happens, the board would have to work with our attorney to see what next steps are, but I don't believe that's the case at this moment.
Okay, the next question is only one signature allowed to write a check or two signatures?
One signature. Chris, are you on? I believe it's one signature.
No, it's a dual signature on all checks. but the village does have a check stamp that has the dual signature for all checks. That's how all checks are issued under a dual signature.
Thank you.
Thank you. The next question, does the village have authority to change traffic light signals in regards to traffic flow, safety, or hazardous situations? If so, what does that process entail and who makes the decision?
Superintendent Stacy, yeah, okay, can you chime in on that one?
Yeah, traffic lights would probably be more on IDOT. We do share some at our intersections, but I'm I think I saw that comment in here. I know where he's at. He is by a school zone, and that school zone is on an IDOT road. So I would say IDOT is going to have to, you'd have to inquire with them about the changing of the light time signal, whatever, however that works. I'm not sure how that stuff works.
All right, thank you. The next is a comment. It says that the civic system does software. Baker Tilly does auditing. Civic is owned by Baker Tilly. It is a conflict of interest, period. And I think, Liz, you've already spoken to that in terms of being open to other options. It said, the next comment, it says, is it legal for the mayor to override the board on the issuing of that check after the board voted to hold off?
As Attorney Murphy, it looks like Attorney Murphy is not with us. I know in my discussion with Attorney Murphy, he indicated that the board's only recourse would be to issue a demand letter to recoup the funds. So he did not speak to legal or illegal, but he indicated that the board's only remedy was that we can put it through collections to go back after the funds if we did not approve it.
Okay. The next comment, it says, I would love to hear from all the candidates running for office in the village. You would think they would have something to say, seeing that they want to run things. That's a comment. And then I'll check to see if we have any other questions.
I can respond to that. Trustee Tiffany Henyard, I have had several different forms of communication as it relates to a platform for change for Dolton. And I don't want to put all that out here, but you can always go look me up. My office is on Sibley, and you can always call me 708-963-2137. And I also had a town hall meeting last weekend. Thank you.
All right, thank you. The next one says, with all the snow overnight, where were the plows? Not one snow plow came by 150th and 151st Street in Blackstone today. Why?
Matthew, Matt, you want to ask? I can answer that. Matt can come in. I know that we lost 2 plows before the snow. I'm just finding out, so that slowed things down. So they'll be getting to your block, and I'll come over there just to make sure. But they're getting it done. But they got set back a little bit.
Yeah, with the water main break the other day, now the snow that came, the trucks that broke down. I just spoke with with the foreman. That truck that was broke down, one of them's back up. So now we're only down 1 truck. So we're getting to it. They have a water main break out there tonight. So we're moving. We had guys that went home that worked all night. So we'll be back at it again in the morning. And I'll make sure we get over to that area if it hasn't been touched. But I believe everything has been gone through once throughout the town.
Okay. The next comment says, it's very convenient that the delay lasted just long enough for the award to be given and the mayor to have his speech. I'm assuming this is referencing the delay in the time between the Zoom and the YouTube chat, which I explained is just the nature of the beast in terms of the software and the technology. So that's the answer to that. The next it says, who has access to those social media tools to block, ban, or prohibit? What's the question? So once again, my name is Giovanni Nixon. I am the Director of Communications and External Affairs. Every software platform does have options to block or ban, etc. I can tell you that since I started approximately 1 year ago, I have never blocked or banned anyone. If you have an issue, or if your technology is not working, or you have a concern, you are more than welcome to reach out to me and let me know. But I've never blocked or banned anyone from any platform. The next one says, I'm sorry, it's a follow-up. Between Ellis Avenue and Main Street at East 143rd Street. I think that was in reference to plowing, Matt. They provided a location.
No, that's Ellis is right over there by Dobson. So if they are getting low water pressure or whatnot, that could be from the main break over in that area.
Yes, okay. Next question, is there a manager for the water department? Why can a question about water billing be answered? I'm assuming they meant to say, why can't a question about water billing be answered?
To my knowledge, there's not a manager for the water department. Am I correct in that? Administrator Scott or Chris?
Yes, that is correct. And so let me also add that there was a question, I believe, about District 3 water billing. I didn't have the schedule in front of me because it's for all the districts, and sometimes I don't remember which month is for which. But if they're referencing, I don't know if they were trying to reference the water bill relief fund or being qualified, but it is two billing cycles behind. The billing has been going out, it's every 3 months. And for District 3, the bills are coming out this month. They're May, August, November. So it's February, May, August, and November.
Thank you. The next question said, is it a conflict of interest for a trustee to have access to village social media tools? I can respond to that. I'm assuming they may be referencing Trustee Steve, who used to be the media director. However, at this time, he's not. I manage all of our communication on every single platform. And the only time that his help is, I guess I won't say needed, is that if we have like a technical outage, because sometimes like the software, the equipment that we use for the broadcast for the residents, there are sometimes we have a shortage or an issue with just like the outage, and he's been able to help in those circumstances because he lives closer to the village than what I do. So he can just kind of be on site to help resolve those. But the only person that manages the Village of Dolton social media is Giovanni Nixon. The next question says, once again, who approves manual checks? Because they feel that the question has not been answered.
There is not one person that would approve a manual check. The manual checks are approved by the department heads depending on where the check is coming from. For example, if it's a check that relates to public works that needs to go out right away, Superintendent Stacy may work with Janice Johnson, or the checks for insurance and things that we regularly do would be issued. The one check that was disputed was authorized by Mayor Rogers, and all other checks were routine checks, and there were various different people that authorized those checks.
All right, thank you. The next comment says, I'm happy to hear that all the street lights are going to be replaced and now it looks like different colors. Next question, where's the email list established from? Because I don't receive any emails from the village and I used to receive them. So I can respond to that. So with the emails that we send out on our newsletter, you can go to our Village of Dolton website. So vodolton.org/newsletter. And there's prompts there to sign up. If you have an issue or you're not receiving emails you used to, you can reach out to me. My email address is gnixon, which is G as in George, NICKSON @vodolton.org. Or you can call me at 1-708-201-2960. all of which is available on our website. We have had circumstances that sometimes our emails can go to spam, and that can happen from time to time, depending upon if you have Yahoo or Gmail, because every email carrier does update their security systems and all those ins and outs. So if you have an issue with it, just call me or email me, and then I can work to make sure that you are receiving those communications. The next question is, who approves manual checks? But you just answered that. So I think we should be good on that. The next comment says, if you give all trustees access to the media, more people will subscribe to the village media as a whole. I guess I can respond to that. So in terms of media and communications, that's my job. That's my role. I manage the department. My background is in media communications and journalism, so I definitely am equipped to manage my department. In terms of giving trustees an access to media would almost be to assume that trustees would take a role in the communications department, which I don't really see that would really be plausible, because people typically work in the lane in which they're experienced and accredited to work in. So it's a nice suggestion, but I don't really think that would be very plausible. And if you examine Dolton versus any other municipality or corporations, etc., you'll see that trustees do not typically work in media or in the communications department unless their skills and expertise are applicable. So that's my response there. The next question is, why is the mayor's block completely plowed and he is not even there, but others are stuck in the driveways and garages?
Superintendent Stacy, you have a comment on that? I don't know
I sure do. The mayor's block is on our dead ends block. We got a sheet with all dead ends in the towns, and that was divided up tonight. So there were 2 employees out doing dead ends, and evidently his block was completed along with other ones, because I know all the dead ends were completed tonight.
Okay. The next statement says, Miss Nixon, which is myself, may not be blocking folks, but someone is. So the response is that no one else has the user IDs and passwords to access our media, because of course that's very secure. And as I stated, I've never blocked anyone, nor would I want to, because I do like to get feedback from residents, whether it be positive or negative, because it helps me grow in my role and it helps me expand our communications department as a whole. So that's my answer there. And I'll check to see if we have any other comments that have come in since that. Okay.
Giovanni, there was one, I think Ron on here has his hand up. I think he did want to ask a question. I don't know if it was one he wanted to ask for the record or not.
Oh, okay. That's fine. Go ahead, Ron. Ron, are you still here?
It's kind of coming on and off mute, so I think he's trying to get in.
Trustee House, can you hear me now?
Yes, sir.
All right, I appreciate you guys giving me a minute here. I just wanted to make a comment to Administrator Scott and Chief Mobley. I think that you guys did a phenomenal job getting the extra protection for the Village of Dolton police officers. And I'm very happy that that worked out well for you. But I would like you to recheck your figures, please, because I think the board authorized $232,000 over 5 years with an immediate down payment of $23,000. If you could just double check your records before you send it up to vote next meeting, I would appreciate that.
Okay, I'm sure we will follow up. Administrator Scott or Mobley, any questions, any comment?
Yeah, Chris, are you on?
Yep.
Okay, so what is the discrepancy in the price difference, Ron?
You had said 254,000. I'm pretty sure that the paperwork we sent you and then the phone conversations we had with you, Chris, Chief Mobley, and I forgot who else was on, was for 232,000 over 5 years with an immediate down payment of like 23,172 as soon as you purchase the radios.
Okay, so what you're saying is you're not putting down the down payment anymore?
No. I'm sorry. We're putting down the payment at 23,172 and agreed to pay 232,000 or 231,8 something or whatever the figure was. But you had said 254. I didn't know where the difference was with that.
Chris, you want to chime in on that?
Well, if I can ask as well, would this be something that maybe tomorrow morning, because we still have executive session as well, would that be something that Ron, you could work with Administrator Scott and Chris in the morning so we can get the figures correct for the March 1st meeting?
I'm perfectly fine with that. If Administrator Scott, you're good with that?
No problem.
Sure.
Thank you.
Thanks, everybody. And with that, I think we're gonna, we do have executive session about the one matter. I don't feel that there'll be any further business after we come out of executive session. So I would ask if we can do a motion. Well, I'll make a motion. I forget I can make the motion. I'll make the motion that we go to executive session.
Second.
Motion and seconded. Clerk Dugan, can you do a roll call, please?
Trustee Denton,
Aye.
trustee Steve, okay, trustee Steve, are you there?
I don't see his icon any longer, so he may not be there.
Trustee
Okay, I'll
House?
move on and come back.
Oh.
Trustee House,
Aye.
trustee Brown is absent.
Oh, Trustee House.
Okay,
Trustee House.
Aye.
yeah. Are there two of us calling the roll here?
I'm sorry. I was calling Trustee House because we had a few more citizen address questions. So I wasn't sure if the time.
Already played the roll. I'm sorry.
It's okay. That's okay. We have a few
If
more.
those comments can be sent via email, we can do our best to answer them at the beginning of next meeting.
Okay, no problem. It's only like about 4 more, so I'll just send those via email.
Thank you.
Sure.
Trustee Denton was an aye. Trustee Steve, are you back? Trustee House was an aye. Trustee Brown is absent. Trustee Holmes
Aye.
and trustee Henry.
Aye.
Okay, we are recessed to executive session at 8:19.
Mary Kay's attorney here. Is Murphy on?
Looks like he.
Yeah, Murphy is about to jump on now. I just called him and told him we're going into exec session, trustee.
All right.
So he's about to jump on.
So we would need to,
Okay, so if we can, think who are the parties we need. And I think we have to disconnect the YouTube live.
Yes.
Of course, we want all board members, Chief Mobley, Administrator Scott. Trying to think if there's anybody else. With Chris,
for sure.
I think everybody else is free to go and have a great evening.